At the time of Adi Shankara, Bharat as a nation has gone through the worst confusion. 80% of Bharat moved away from Hinduism to Buddhism. And the rest of the Hindus were fighting among themselves with different schools of thought. Complete intellectual degradation was the prevalence of the society at that time. So when Shankara came, there were 80 schools of thought fighting among themselves, and none of them were very clear. So, absolutely chaotic situation it was, and somebody brilliant was required to put back things in place. It is at this time Shankara manifested. Shankara's parents, Shivaguru and Aryamba, were on a pilgrimage. They were traveling and they were in this place called Vadakunath Temple in Trichur, Kerala. So when they were visiting this Tirtha Kshetra, they had a dream. Shivaguru had a dream, and the dream was Lord Shiva came to him in his dream and asked him, "Do you want a child who is brilliant but will live very short? Or do you want a child who is mediocre, average, but will have a long life?" So when he had this dream, he woke up his wife, Aryamba, and he told her, saying, "This is a very strange dream. Shiva came and asked me this question in my dream." So Aryamba looked at Shivaguru and asked, "What did you tell Shiva?" Shivaguru was quiet. He said, "I could not say anything. It was a dream. I woke up." Then she said, "Tomorrow let's go and pray to Shiva. Let's go to the temple and place our request that we want a child who is brilliant, even if short-lived. Quality years and quantity years." They preferred quality years. Next morning they went, offered their prayers and took a sankalpa saying, "Please bless us with a child who would be brilliant, as you suggested in your dream, even if it is short-lived." And very soon they conceived, and this brilliant child was born to them. And Shankara used to pick up lessons very quickly, even from his early childhood. When the time came to take him to the Gurukula, when he has to, join formally into a Gurukula to study, there, what people took 12 years to learn, Shankara learnt it up in 2 years. We have heard of double promotion, triple promotion. This is like 6 times. What would take 12 years, a person learns it in 2 years. Now that was the sign of brilliance of Adi Shankara. And this child, when he was 8, he used to go and tell his mother, "Mother, bless me, I need to take sannyas." And his mother would never agree. And she'll say, "Go play, do something." But he was that way. He was insisting often, "Bless me to take sannyas." And she would refuse. One day Shankara was swimming in Purna river. And I was swimming in the river, and he would love to go into the deeper parts of the river to swim. And as he was swimming, a crocodile grabbed Shankara's feet. And his mother, who was on the banks of the river, saw Shankara struggling with crocodile and crocodile dragging Shankara away. At that time, a thought flashed in her mind. She said, "I should have given this child sannyas. At least he would have been alive. What did I do?" And with tears in her eyes, she was looking at Shankara. Something happened. The crocodile left Shankara, and Shankara swam across and came with little hurt in his leg. His mother is also an advanced seeker. She was very sure that this brilliant child is meant to do a much bigger work than staying at home. And when the thought flashed in her mind that I should have given him sannyas, permitted him to take sannyas, actually the crocodile left. So she was very clear that she has to let go Shankara for a higher cause, and she tells her son, you can now go and take sannyas. So Shankara walks away from his home, an 8-year-old child, walking all the way to Madhya Pradesh, Omkareshwar. Imagine from Ernakulam to Omkareshwar, 1,500 plus kilometers. A child of 8 walking across. What a journey that would be, where you're not sure of your next meal. You're not sure where you will stay. You're not sure who you're going to encounter. What kind of climate you have to meet with. What is the rough weather you have to deal with. How many forests you have to cross through. All kinds of people you may have to meet. And everything is so uncertain. But this 8-year-old child started walking, not even sure where he has to go. This is one of the most finest quality of Shankara. Leaving the known and searching the unknown. And he takes this journey and keeps moving. En route, he meets different people. And one strange incident this 8-year-old observed when he was near Sringeri. He saw a cobra giving shelter, shade to a pregnant frog. A frog which was about to litter. And it was scorching heat. So the cobra came and gave shelter. And Shankara was looking at it. For an 8-year-old, he saw the sight of a frog being protected from heat by a cobra, and the frog was pregnant. He saw this is a strange thing. What could this be? That these two are enemies. Snakes live on frogs, and here the snake is protecting the frog. He observed, he said, there's something special about this place. Much later, he builds his first mutt there. We'll come to that later in the discussion. So now he just observed that and he walks away. Still not sure where he has to go, what he would eat. But he went on his journey, found his way, and en route he heard from people that there is a teacher, brilliant teacher called Govindapad in Omkareshwar on the banks of river Narmada. There is a nice cave and this person lives there. He would be an ideal teacher. So he was walking around meeting all kinds of people, but this information which came to him, it resonated so well, so he went on walking. Finally, he reaches Narmada, comes via Amarkantak, walks all the way to Omkareshwar. There, finally, he meets his Guru, who himself was in deep meditation for a very long time and doesn't entertain talking to people. So he was sitting in his dhyan, and Shankara was waiting outside his cave. And when Govindapad opened his eyes from meditation, he saw a little child, 8-year-old, standing there. He looked at him and he said, "Dear child, who are you? What are you here for?" And Shankara's answer was Dasha Shloki. And some say it was Nirvan Shatakam. Either way, the answer was so beautiful, where he says, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect. Mano, Buddhi, Chit, not even memory. Ahankar is not me. Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham, this is me. Now anyone, an 8-year-old, imagine the teacher asking, who are you? From where have you come? Who are you? What are you here for? And he says, O Guru, O teacher, I am not the mind. Mano, Buddhi, Chit, Ahankar, na. Manas, Buddhi, Chit, Ahankar is not me. Antakarna, the inner equipment is not me. Outer equipment, the body is not me. I am not the body, neither am I the inner equipments. Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham, this is me. What a beautiful question the teacher asked, and what a brilliant answer Shankara gave. This is their first meeting. The teacher was mighty impressed. And in fact, Govind Pad said, I have been waiting for a lifetime for you. You just came now. Let me tell you what can you achieve in life, and there the mentor student teacher relationship begins. He studied with him for 3-4 years, and then Govind Pad says, Shankara, now go to Kashi. That is a place from where you have to start your work. Imagine he's hardly 12 years old now. Shankara starts writing commentaries on most important books. Brahma Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, on Prasthanatraya. He starts his work. And then he goes to Kashi. From Kashi he goes to Himalayas. There in Himalayas he completes the work which he started in Kashi. He completes the commentary on Brahma Sutra in Badrinath. But wherever Shankara went, there was something or other which happened which was very inspiring. Like in Kashi, when he was traveling on a narrow lanes with few of his disciples, and Kashi, even today the lanes are narrow. Early morning, Shankara, after his bath, was walking through the narrow lanes. In front of him came a person, not very clean, unhygienic in appearance, with 4 dogs walking around him, hair let loose, not clean clothes, maybe carrying a skull. Generally, such a person was called Chandala. So in a narrow lane, not clean, unhygienic, hair all over the place, a skull, and 4 dogs walking. Imagine someone walking in front of you like that. Obviously, someone will say, please move, move. So whether Shankara said it or one of his disciples said it, it doesn't matter who said it, but somebody said, Gacha, Gacha, please move, move. This Chandala looked at Shankara and started smiling. And he said, Kim bruhi gacha gacheti. What have you asked me to move? Annamayat annamayam, chaitanyameva chaitanyat. Hey Dvijavara, hey twice born Brahmin, please tell me, Dvijavara, twice born. First birth, the parents give. Second birth is born from the teacher through knowledge. One who is initiated into the higher knowledge, Dvijavara, is called twice born. Hey Dvijavara, Kim bruhi gacha gacheti. What have you asked me to move? Annamayat annamayam, chaitanyameva chaitanyat. You want the matter to move away from matter? Or you want the spirit to move away from spirit, which cannot move, which is all pervading. And what difference is this? The matter in me or in you? Please tell me. Clarify what you want to move. Shankara was stunned, and so was all his disciples. Everyone was gaping at this Chandala. What did he ask? And Shankara did not hesitate, ran straight to him, touched his feet, and he said, I did not mean discrimination here. And he says, whoever has this clarity, he is my guru. Whether he is a Dvija or whether he is a Chandala. Whoever in the world who has this insight, who has this knowledge of knowing the difference between matter and spirit, who has this kind of a clarity, that person is my guru, be it a Chandala or be it a Dvija. When this happened, and Shankara was looking at Chandala, and Chandala was all that what Shankara saw in Chandala was Shiva. He just saw Shiva standing there. And then he is guided, go to Himalayas. And that's where he went and started to complete the work which he just started, like writing commentaries on the books, etc. And when he went to Badrinath also, When he went to the temple there in Badrinath, there was hardly any deity. There was just a shaligram for which people were worshipping. Imagine walking all the way to Badrinath and there is no idol there but only a shaligram. So Shankara asked, what happened? Why is this shaligram here and not idol? They said long back when the temple was being attacked, our forefathers did not know what to do to protect the temple being attacked by the fanatics. They dropped this idol somewhere in Alkananda river, and we have been searching for it and we are not able to find it. Since then we are worshipping only this shaligram. So Shankara said, oh, and he was sitting quietly, and suddenly he tells his disciples, let's go to Narad Kund. They all run to Narad Kund and Shankara dives inside Narad Kund in Badrinath, in Alkananda river, and goes and finds a murti, idol, and he picks it up. The lost idol, which was lost for a few hundred years, was found, and Shankara brings it out from the water, and that is placed in Badrinath once again. And till today, that idol is what we go and worship. And that is one corner of Bharat. He renovated the temple and saw Vishnu in a meditating pose, not on a Anantashayana, on a meditating pose. And so immediately Shankara said, here, for this kind of an idol, it would be good if we have a priest from Kerala. A Nambudri should come here and do puja daily. And he imagine, in Badrinath, one corner of northern side of India, are close to the borders of China. A Kerala priest is the one who is doing puja till today. Very different kind of a connect Shankara established. And this is what he did in many places where he went. He made different priests go to different temples. The priests in Pashupatinath or the priests in Rameshwaram are not the local priests. They are from different places. Shankara exchanged these kind of things and saw that these are the places which are well connected. So one of the fantastic contributions of Shankara, apart from the commentary what he has written, is renovating all the temples, and he was on a Tirtha Yatra. Tirtha Yatra for us is very important because Tirtha Yatra connected Bharat. All of us could identify who we are as a nation. Bharat is only because of Tirtha Yatra. People from Kashi in the northern side used to come to Rameshwaram. It was a practice, a ritual practice, that if you are there, you must visit Rameshwaram, Kashi Rameshwaram. And people in the south have to go to Kashi. Now this travel, imagine those days when you either have to do by foot or by horse or by bullock carts, people were traveling across the country. And this way of traveling across the country has made us identify we are Bharat. Otherwise, we would have identified with small region we come from. The bigger vision has come only there. That's how Jambu Dweep was one identity. That's why even in Sankalpa we say Bharata Kande, Bharata Varshe. That identity, to re-establish that, Tirtha Yatras played a great role, and Shankara in this aspect has done a brilliant job. Not many people understand that the idea of Bharat is only when we travel across to all these places, we can understand what we take as Sankalpa, Bharata Kande, Bharata Varshe, Jambu Dweepe. To make us geographically identify with this place, this kind of a Tirtha Yatra was very important, and Shankara played a vital role in that. After writing his commentaries, etc., he went around teaching people. And in that time in India, the discussions were mostly through debates. Two schools of thought, when they meet, they used to sit and debate. And this boy was a teenager, 16, 17, 18. At this age, you go around convincing big scholars. Met different kinds of people, convinced them, sat with them, and had a very good discussion, and all these people started following. Age never mattered. Aged teachers were disciples of this young teenager. And one such very famous debate is between Shankara and Mandan Mishra. Mandan Mishra comes from a school of thought which is called Mimamsik. Mimamsik school of thought means they believe that doing rituals will take you to heaven. And when you come back to earth, you do more rituals and you go back to heaven again. Longer stay. That way, Mimamsiks believe. And Shankara was believing Advaita, the creator and the created both are divine. There is only one consciousness, and that alone is real. So Advaita Vedanta with Mimamsik school of thought was the debate. And this is very important. These two schools of thought, Shankara representing Advaita Vedanta, Mandan Mishra representing Mimamsika. Imagine thousands of years ago, the judge was Mandan Mishra's wife, Ubhaya Bharati. Imagine today when we talk about what is Mimamsa school of thought, hardly anybody knows what that school of thought is. Advaita Vedanta, few people know. Suppose we say Nyaya, Vaisheshika, people don't know today. In the past, the women of this country were also fully aware of all this knowledge. Ubhaya Bharati sits, who is Mandan Mishra's wife. Shankara says, "Oh mother, I have full faith in in your justice and in your wisdom. You please be the judge for our debate." Imagine. First, when I read this was like, how advanced this women must be. And that was our country. Women were so well advanced with knowledge and wisdom. And here is a woman judging Shankara and Mandan Mishra. Imagine the knowledge, what she possessed. That was Bharat. Knowledge was not restricted only to men. Knowledge was given to everybody. And they used to debate, and finally Shankara won the debate. And that's another episode by itself. I'm not going into it now. Shankara won the debate, and Mandan Mishra became Shankara's disciple. He became Sureshwaracharya. When this happened, Shankara was a teenager, and Sureshwaracharya was 60-year-old. Imagine the debate between a 60-year-old and a teenager, and the 60-year-old becomes his disciple. This is how Shankara went around convincing people. And wherever he went, one of the big things what he did is he established 4 mutts. And few mutts developed because of the influence of Shankara. Other mutts came up too across India. But there were 4 in 4 different corners of our country. Strategically placed, which was very, very important. And that continued the tradition. So he established an institute which can carry forward in an organized manner the proper method of spreading the knowledge, proper method of preserving the knowledge. So he established Matsa. And once he had this intuitive call that his mother is waiting for him. Aryamba has become old and she's waiting for him because when he left, she asked him for a promise. She said, "You should be by my side when I drop this body." So Aryamba was there, and Shankara intuitively felt his mother is calling him, he has to go, and he reached Ernakulam. When he reached his hometown, he saw his aged mother, and she was very happy in seeing Shankara because she heard about Shankara's glory from different people, what kind of work Shankara is doing, how people are looking at him. And there he was with her last moments, and then she passes away in Shankara's presence. From there, Shankara walks. Now this journey is very important. This is seen as the Shankara Digvijaya, the route what he took. He first went to Guruvayur temple. There, the rituals which was being done in the temple were not proper. It was not Vedic, not Vedic methods. Some other methods people must have adopted and they got lost because it happens over a long period of time. If knowledge is not well preserved, it gets distorted. And so the rituals also there got lost completely. So Shankara re-established, gave them a proper puja vidhi to be followed. That what is set up there is the one which is happening even today in Guruvayur. Even today, everything what Shankara said 1,000+ years ago is what is being practiced. From Guruvayur temple, after regularizing the puja, etc., Shankara moves to down south, goes to Thiruvananthapuram. And in between two, there are many other temples, but I'm taking now famous temples. Goes to Thiruvananthapuram and does the same thing with Anantapadmanabha Swami temple. Imagine, it is one of the richest temples even today. He regulated things there, re-established Vedic dharma of rituals. From there he comes to Kanyakumari. Kanyakumari is well known. Shankara was at the tip of the country, Bharat, and renovates that temple. Even today everything is followed there. Much later we can remember even Vivekananda was inspired on reaching Kanyakumari to spread the knowledge. So it's that where you go to the tip of the nation, you stand there and you look at whole Bharat. Shankara renovated that temple in Kanyakumari. Then goes to Tiruchendur, Subramanya Swami temple, and re-establishes that again. From there to Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple. From Meenakshi Amman temple to Rameshwaram. After re-establishing Rameshwaram, bringing in the right puja methods, etc., renovating it, he moves from there to Chidambaram. From Chidambaram to Tiruvannamalai, Arunachalam. From there to Kanchi. From Kanchi to Tirupati. In Tiruvannamalai, he wrote Dakshinamurti. And we all know Tiruvannamalai is a place, even today, people go there and become silent quietly. Ramana Maharshi, another well-known saint, who was more understood through his silence, was also from Tiruvannamalai. So there, in that place, Shankara, when he went, he wrote Dakshinamurti. And then he moved to Kanchi, from Kanchi Kamakshi temple. Then he moved to Tirupati, went to Gokarna to the west coast, came back to the east, came from west coast, Gokarna. Imagine from Tirupati, going all the way to the west coast. And once again coming from there to east coast. Shankara traveled this way 4 times, up and down the country. So when he comes from Gokarna to the west, from the west to the east coast, he establishes Puri temple. In Puri Jagannath, which is again very famous for Ratha Yatra, etc., even in this temple, the idols were not there. This temple was also subject to fanatical attacks. So the priests that time took these idols and buried it somewhere. And over a period of time, they lost a clue where it is. Few hundred years. No idea where it is. So Shankara sat down there, and then it dawned on him intuitively that these idols are in a banyan grove somewhere near Chilka Lake. He went there, asked people, and they dug and they found idols. Those are the idols of Krishna, Balram, and Subhadra, which you go and worship in Puri, was rediscovered by Adi Shankara, and it is there even today. Even the king of that time was mighty pleased. And that famous Ratha Yatra was restarted, and king himself will come. Take permission from come for the Ratha Yatra and lead it. That tradition is practiced even today, and that started from Shankara's time. This way Shankara traveled. He went to Pashupatinath, and today in Nepal, that was also renovated, re-established, gave them direction how to do puja. And that is what is practiced even today. This way, if you see, and from there, Pashupatinath to Assam, Kamakya temple, again, which was more of a tantric, Shankara guided them how to do the puja there, and that is what is practiced till date. From there to Dwaraka, again to the western coast. And then he goes through Purushottapuram, which is Peshawar today, Pakistan, travels through a few temples in Sindh, etc., and goes further to Kandahar, Afghanistan. All this was part of Bharat those days. And from there he comes to Sharada temple, which is now in shambles in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, which was Bharat. Kandahar was Bharat. So from Kandahar, from Afghanistan, he comes to Kashmir. And here in Kashmir, he writes, he sings the glory of Sharada there. Kashmira Puravasini. Please understand, when you say Kashmira Puravasini, O Lord, O Goddess Sharada, who lives in Kashmir, Kashmir was ours all the while. Kashmira Puravasini. And there in Bharat, there is a beautiful culture. There was. We should bring back that. That in Sharada temple there, it is called Sarvagnya Peeth. You have to go and sit where if you enter that temple and you sit there, you are accepted as the well-known scholar, well-established. People will agree you are a Brahmanishta and Shrotriya. For that, you should know to debate well with all schools of thought. So entry into Sarvagnya Peeth would be like you have to discuss with Nyaya school of thought, Vaisheshika school of thought, Yoga school of thought, Mimamsa school of thought. With every school of thought, Sankhya school of thought, you need to debate and prove how your thought is right. So the big scholars would debate with you and you have to convince all of them, win and prove your school of thought as the right one. Whether it is Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, Shankara has to deal with Sankhyans, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Yoga, Mimamsa. After debating with everyone, he goes and sits on the Sarvagnya Peeth. The nation was in awe about a young person who could debate so well and sit there. In this process of him traveling across length and breadth of India 4 times, the entire Bharat was once again re-established with Hinduism. Buddhism left the shores of Bharat, and it is doing good job outside Bharat, but Bharat turned to Hinduism. These 80 schools of thought all came in one line, and this was one of the biggest contributions of Shankara, a young man who did this. From Sarvagnya Peeth, he comes to Kedarnath, and that was the last he was seen. In Kedarnath, his last work is Sadhana Panchakam. 40 instructions in 5 slokas he gives for a person to start and to complete his spiritual yatra. It's a beautiful book, 40 instructions, 5 slokas. What is sadhana? Explained in 5 verses, Panchakam. This is what he did. And then that was the last time they saw him. But before he could attain Samadhi, in his travels he came upon a brilliant plan earlier. And that was the Panchayatana Puja which Shankara brought in. It's a very amazing work. Sometimes people get lost into their personal gods and start fighting, and coexistence goes away. We were not coexisting, gets intolerant. So to avoid intolerance and to make people understand and coexist together, respecting one another, Shankara established this Panchayatana Puja. What is Panchayatana Puja? He picked up stones, shaligrams, etc., from Mansarovar, gave them to his disciples, and saying, this is the kind of puja you should do. So they are beautiful shaligrams, 5 of them. One would be Surya, one would be Ganesha, one would be Shiva, one would be Vishnu, and one would be Devi. Imagine bringing all of them together. Surya, the Lord of energy and knowledge, sun. Ganesha, remover of obstacles. Vishnu, sustainer. Shiva, the change maker. And Devi, the mother. Now bringing in this 5, we started respecting all forms of worship. The differences sometimes which came between Vaishnavites and Shaivites all ended with this kind of a puja. Now this was again a master stroke of Adi Shankara. After doing everything like this, and in Kedarnath, after handing over the sadhana panchakam, they last saw him was there. He was 32 at the time, and he simply walked away. Last seen, a man who was born 32 brilliant years, rechanged the course of India's, Bharat's destiny, and brought back the Vedic heritage, renovated all that which needs to be renovated, a great Hindu renaissance. His commentary on the Gita, Upanishads and the Brahma Sutra are the pramana even today, are the authority. If anyone writes, if it is in line with what Shankara has said, then we see that as the authority. This way, all this was done till 32 years. Now, I would like to tell you, my Guru, Swami Chinmayananda, was also born in Ernakulam. He lived there and then moved to Lucknow. In Lucknow, when he was studying LLB and Masters in English, he joined the Indian freedom struggle, moved around, he went to POK. The British High Intelligence Office was in POK and he was working under them. And actually the British was searching for him. And he was working for the British, searching for him because he was one of the revolutionaries, student revolutionary movement. He kept it alive in Lucknow, and so they were searching for him. And he was in POK, Abbottabad. There, he was working for British, and British was searching for him. And from there he moved, and they finally caught him, put him in jail. And in jail he had this question: if I get a chance to live, I would decipher what life is. But he did not know religion would give us answers. He grew up from jail. They threw him out thinking he's going to die, and someone picked him up and nurtured him back to life. And he joined National Herald as a reporter. But this atheistic thoughts were there with him, saying, what could life be? That he was almost dying in jail. And then to expose sannyasins, because he never believed in them, he chose to write a story on Swami Shivananda. So he went there to inquire on Swami Shivananda as a reporter. But his questions were answered. Shivanandaji could answer all his questions, and this young reporter was slowly getting convinced and was slowly getting transformed. From an atheist, he transformed himself into a believer, and this is what Swami Shivanandaji did. And once he became a believer, he was very clear, this is my goal of life. I don't want to continue with, as a journalist, let me take up to sannyas. And Shivanandaji sent him back saying, too early, you come back after some time if you still feel the urge. But he came back immediately after 6 months or so, and he said, no, I'm ready. I need to be initiated. And he was initiated into sannyas by Swami Shivanandaji. Diksha was given. An atheist transformed into a believer and was initiated. But Gurudev, being a very inquisitive, investigating personality into scriptures and all that, Shivanandaji recommended him to go to another teacher in Uttarakasi by name Swami Tapovan Maharaj, saying, you go to him, one-on-one he will teach you, because you have this investigating nature. You will go into deep levels of investigation, and Shivanandaji had other works to do, and somebody one-on-one has to talk to him. On recommendation of Shivanandaji, Swami Chinmayananda went to Tapovan Maharaj and studied with him for a few years. Then he decided to come down to earth and do. Now why I'm telling you this is, the work what Shankara left, Gurudev continued. Because of him, today Vivek Chudamani is being taught in Australia or in Argentina or in America. Across the globe, this work of Shankara, it was Gurudev who started, and the work went around. This was him. Now, I would like you to understand what Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda said about Adi Shankara. Just a paragraph I'll read, which will give you a insight. Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda says here, in his missionary work of propagating the great philosophical truths of the Upanishads and of rediscovering through them the true cultural basis of our nation, Acharya Shankara had a variety of efficient weapons in his resourceful armory. He was indeed preeminently the fittest genius who could have undertaken this self appointed task as a sole guardian angel of the Rishi culture. An exquisite thinker, a brilliant intellect, a personality scintillating with vision of truth, a heart throbbing with industrious faith, an ardent desire to serve the nation, sweetly emotional and relentlessly logical. In Shankara, the Upanishads discovered the fittest general. It was indeed a vast program that Shankara had to accomplish within the short span of about 20 effective years. For at that age of 32, he had finished his work and he had folded up his manifestation among the mortals of the world. The line here is an exquisite thinker, a brilliant intellect, a personality scintillating with vision of truth, a heart throbbing, industrious faith, and an ardent desire to serve the nation, sweetly emotional and relentlessly logical. In Shankara, the Upanishads discovered the fittest spiritual general. This is what Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda has to say about Shankara. To summarize how we need to see Shankara apart from his dynamism and the vision and the work what he has done, in one of his works, Viveka Chudamani, he talks about what kind of a mind we should have to attain God. And that shows how inclusive Shankara's vision was. Jati niti kula gotra durakam, nama rupa guna dosha varjitam, desha kala vachayadi vartu yat, brahma tattva masi bhavayatmani. Jati, caste, creed. Jati niti, different rules, regulations. Jati niti kula, family, lineage, where I come from. Gotra, the descendants. Jati niti kula gotra dhurakam. Shun all this away, you're not that. Nama rupa guna dosha varjitam. And even take away this identification with nama and rupa, color of the skin and the shape of the body or the name given to it. Don't identify with any of these layers. Nama rupa guna dosha varjitam. I'm good, I'm bad. Varjitam. Remove all this. Desha kala, and not even with time and place. I belong to this, I belong to that. Drop all this, because none of these are you. Brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani. Remember, you are that Brahman tattvamasi. You are that. Remembering that, discontinue this identification. When we remove all this identification, name, form, gender, we are the truth. Ageless, genderless truth. Brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani. Stay in that. If we follow Shankara, we understand how inclusive a person should be and not discriminate anything and nor identify with any of these layers, because we are not that. All of us are potentially divine. All of us are nothing but that divine. Brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani. Let us revel in that. Thank you very much.